This is the Divergently podcast, and our episode for today is Everything You Want to Know About Feminism in 5 minutes. I'm Alexandra, and I'll guide you through this. 1. Feminism has been turned into another F word by its backlash movements, but feminists are people of any gender who believe in and work for gender equity, which means same rights and opportunities for all genders, including the right to exist and move around freely without harm or fearing for one's body autonomy. 2. The European version of feminist starts with the British philosopher and women's rights advocate Mary Wollstonecraft when she published A Vindication of the Rights of Women in the 18th Century, a few years after the French Revolution. 3. But the word feminism was only coined in France 1 century later by a man no less, around the same time of the suffragette movement, which was a rebellious movement demanding votes for women, together with better work and life conditions. 4. The suffragette movement is considered the first feminist wave. They almost literally blew out society's roofs to make themselves heard. While paving the way, some women have sacrificed themselves so that we can arrive at what we know today as feminisms. We also need to point out that it was essentially a racist and elitist movement made by and for white women of good families. 5. The second feminist wave was the love and peace movement from the 60s and the 70s, with focus on sexual liberation and fighting for reproductive rights, protesting for the right to take the contraceptive pill. There was one incident of burning bras in inverted commas, which became iconic in pop culture, but there was no fire involved and no actual bras burning. 6. Feminism is a plural movement, including several feminisms like Black feminism, trans feminism, anarcho-feminism, Marxist feminism, ecofeminism, radical feminism, and intersectional feminism. 7. The current feminist wave is post-colonialist, critical of neoliberalism, and with a focus on diversity and inclusion. In other words, anti-capitalistic, anti-racist, and inclusive of trans women and of trans people. There is no freedom for one unless there is freedom for all. There are feminist movements that work more or less within these parameters. Did I mention that this was 7? Okay, 8. Feminism is supposed to be a collective effort, and gender inequality is a problem to be solved by everyone, men, women, and non-binary people. It is not just women's issues. 9. Please reflect upon how utterly misogynistic and cis-heteronormative it is to reduce women and label people based on their genitalia and sexual organs. Some cisgender people don't have uterus or breasts. Some trans women don't have vaginas, some trans men do. Intersex people can have an apparent ambiguous genitalia. Some women are tall, some women are fat, some women are short, some women are black, some women are white. Women come in all shapes and forms, and we are still women. If the hair, height, weight, nationality, and many other characteristics don't define what a woman is, why should specific parts of their bodies do? Are women really free to perform femininity as they wish? This is 10. This is a question to be posed. Stereotypical standards of what it is considered to be feminine tends to be way better accommodated in patriarchy than other types of women who defy those norms. 11. Speaking from experience is a very important concept within feminisms. Feminists should not take each other's standpoints for granted. People who are oppressed in a specific way know more about that subject than someone who has read about it. However, the voice of one person from a particular group is just one of the existing voices in that group. Not everyone from the same community will agree or think alike. 12. Not all black women will have the same political position, the same as not all trans women. Caitlyn Jenner, for example, is a famous North American trans woman, but she doesn't represent the voices of trans women around the globe because she's really privileged. She's white, rich, Republican, while trans women are often pushed into poverty and prostitution, especially in South America. Not everyone is aware of the many ways in which oppression affects them. 13. Feminism is not hatred towards men, but it fights against hatred against women. Did you know that misogyny is the oldest prejudice in the world? Patriarchy and racism are white people's creations. They go hand in hand. 14. Naturalized violence is a problem of the world. This is why it is so difficult to see oppression and privilege. Through constant repetition, generation after generation, people learn concepts and behaviors deemed now as normal. But everything is a social construction. There have always been forces resisting current oppressions, but they are usually raised through violence or the threat of violence. Minorities that have tried to raise their voices have many times been shut down violently. 15. People cannot really be free until they conquer bodily autonomy, from guaranteed and protected reproductive rights, like having an abortion, to the right to access hormones and gender transition surgeries, or even intersex babies no longer being mutilated at birth to change their ambiguous genitalia. The body is the first thing that should belong to one's own, but it is the first controlled thing in society. 16. Rape and femicide are the most extreme attempt to control women's bodies and lives, including and especially of trans, poor, and black women. Another reason why bodily autonomy is so important. Women are still unable to lead free, happy lives unharmed. The last point is also the hardest pill to swallow within feminisms, which is the participation of other women in maintaining the patriarchy. The existence of the institution of patriarchy, a structure that institutes, promotes, and perpetuates gender inequality, misogyny, and violence, is only possible with women as accomplices, and will only come to an end when it is recognized as unjust by everyone. This was the Divergently podcast. I'm Alexandra, and I hope that you enjoyed all the information that I brought to you.